Hey everyone, welcome. When I heard the quote, bikes are better with pedals, so we built some, I knew that I had to take a closer look at the new PNW Loam pedals. These are the first flats that are produced by the Pacific Northwest, so let's take a closer look at them. And I put the Shimano pedal in front of you because it feels like we've been using them forever. Well, guess what? PNW comes with lifetime warranty, just like their dropper. The Loam dropper comes with lifetime warranty. You probably remember that I did a review on this one not too long ago. And compared to some of the newer flat pedals in the marketplace, these have a more interesting shape, to say the least. If I had the aluminum version of these OneUp pedals, the design would be very similar to the PNW Loam, again, aside from the shape. PNW offers just two dimensions for this, 105 by 115. This would be your 115th length, but for this other dimension, they provide 105 as in millimeters, but I have to go 2/3 towards the edge of the pedal to get to that 105, because here at the tip we're starting with 95 millimeters, and at the widest point is close to, again, 11 centimeters. That's very similar to what the OneUp pedal provides here. Also interesting is that compared to the good old Saint, these new pedals are actually a bit shorter, so you have a slightly wider Q factor here, mostly because of the axle. Otherwise the platform on the older pedals is not as big as these. One other reason why I brought these into the discussion is because the shape of these older pedals is clearly concave. You see it's narrow here in the middle, wider at the edges. Compared to that, you can see these newer pedals are actually convex, meaning that they're thicker in the middle than they are at the edges. That seems to be uniform. You see my ruler rocking on that center axle, and I'm sure you want to know the thickness. We're talking close to 11 millimeters here on the edges. The middle of it is 16, so 5 millimeter difference between the thickness here and the thickness in the middle. Compared to that, you see the Saint pedals being concave, not convex. But when you get here to the axle, it is actually flat. So the axle portion and the rest of the platform are at the same level. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they could get away with these tinier or shorter pins. These pins here on the Saint pedal are 3 millimeter in length. And that 3 millimeter is very close to these smaller pins that you see on the PNW. The ones on the edge, these pins are 5.5 millimeters, so quite a bit taller. The tallest pin on this platform though is this one here, another millimeter, so 6.5 millimeters long. And that's where, that's closer to the toes, because this is the right pedal, yeah. However, if you look from this side, you're going to see that even though this is the longest pin, is actually lower than everything else, and maybe that's why they call this concave without being too concave, even though these pedals are definitely convex. Also, the pins on the PNW are just tall and smooth, as opposed to either the Shimano or the OneUp that have that like a thread cut into them. Hard to tell if that gives you a better grip though. Otherwise, these are designed very similar to the OneUp aluminum pedals. You have that big bearing race right here close to the axle that is chromoly. So you have one big bearing over there and either a bushing or another tiny bearing somewhere in here. These are fully rebuildable. They will have service kits as well as replaceable pins for order. They're not available right now, but I expect that to be soon on their site. The bulge of this bearing race is again very similar to OneUp. I don't know if this would affect my riding in any way. Again, these are a bit shorter than something like a Saint pedal. So if you were to keep your foot really close to it, I guess you would feel it. But I think these pedals are a bit more gravity oriented, so if you keep your foot planted right here in the middle, there's no reason why this bulge will be in your way. And like with any pedals, you definitely want them to run smoothly, but you also want to make sure they don't spin too freely. These pedals are, I think, 7 years old, and you can see they spin a couple of times and they stop. As opposed to that, the PNW actually spins a bit too easily for me, especially straight out of the box. This can be a problem if you slip a pedal, because then it might be hard for you just to find a pedal again. There's no service manual posted yet on the PNW site, but I'm sure you can tighten the axle a little bit. Again, for my taste, these are spinning too freely right now, and both pedals are the same, so no difference between them. Not a lot of graphical elements on the pedals, but you see here R and L respectively, telling you exactly which pedal goes on the non-drive side, which one goes on the drive side. And for installation, they provide you with a couple of pedal washers, and they recommend using an 8mm Allen key. That's how you would install these. Apply some grease to the threads, and always remember to turn the axle towards the front of the bike to install. By the way, they recommend 35 Newton meters to tighten this up. Aside from the washers, there's nothing else in the box, but here on the back, you're gonna see that these are made in Taiwan, and they provide you an installation manual, easy to get to using that QR code. Weight specified by PNW is 445 for the set, so 223 for the first pedal, same for second, so here's your 445. So weight is dead on, even though these pedals are not the lightest in the category. But they come in 3 colors, and they are pretty aggressively priced compared to the competition. So what do you guys think? Does anybody still use flats out there? Are you interested in these new PNW Loam pedals? Are you interested in their lifetime warranty? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you have been using composite pedals as opposed to aluminum. And until next time, hope to see you folks on the trails. Cheers, guys. Cheers.